Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, let's pull up this screen. Okay, folks, we're going to talk about a lot of things today. We're going to talk about Joe Milton. Is he a dark horse for the Heisman? A lot of people think so. We're also going to talk about Nico and his MVP game that he had. We're going to talk a little bit about Cam Pringle and his commitment to South Carolina. And then, of course, we got to talk about Lane Kiffin because he won't ever shut up about the Vols. And he used a movie to troll the Vols. We'll be talking about that. And we're going to talk about his possibility of going to Michigan. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. You're like, there's no way he just got through putting Ole Miss through all that grief over Auburn. Well, don't think Michigan's not a possibility for him. And he would probably go. We're going to talk about all that. And that's a very real possibility. All right, folks, this is on Fan Nation. Joe Milton viewed as early Heisman dark horse, and he said he's among several early betting candidates for the 2023 Heisman Trophy. And they talk about how Tennessee Volunteers never won a Heisman, which we got creaked out of one with Peyton. And I'm telling you what, had we not lost Hendon to that injury, he would have probably finished second. He might have won it. It says the last time Tennessee had a Heisman finalist, 1997, with Peyton Manning, where he threw for 4,000 yards and 36 touchdowns. And that was back when you couldn't do that. So, you know, he was putting up crazy numbers when offense was difficult and you were allowed to hit the quarterback. You were allowed to do all kinds of things that you can't do now. And here you can see he's got him at plus 2,000 and plus 3,000 at the two different sports books. Says it's a long shot, but a lot of people didn't think Max Duggan was going to be a finalist either. And, of course, Milton could not be in a more friendly offense when it comes to quarterbacks. And it talks about his strong finish by winning MVP of the Orange Bowl. He threw for 10 touchdowns, 0 interceptions during the season. He went in after Hendon got hurt. Then it talks about Nico breathing down his neck, which, man, we're going to have to talk about Nico a little bit. That guy's going to be better than I thought. I knew he was going to be really good, but I thought he would need more time. But I watched him play in that in the Polynesian Bowl. That guy's good. Man, he's good. He looked very polished. I mean, and he's got, 8 or 9 months to get ready. So we might have we might have a quarterback controversy that's a really good one. But the thing we got to talk about with Joe is this. He was under as much pressure as a quarterback could possibly be under in that game against Clemson in front of 8.5 million people. And I've been on the fence with him and almost kind of leaning towards not being on his side because I was concerned that he was going to do the overthrows and all that. He didn't do that in that game. He threw for 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and he's kind of doing what Hendon Hooker did when he took over. You know, started throwing those touchdowns, no interceptions, and it's hard to argue with those kind of numbers. Now, he does not run the ball as well as Hendon did. Hendon had those very light feet, and second he felt pressure, you know, he would escape and get 10, 15 yards. Joe is not good at that. His feet are a little bit heavier, and he's flat-footed, and he just, you know, he doesn't seem to have that sixth sense that Hendon had. But I think that's something you can learn, much more than the overthrows, because he's already shown us that he can improve. I'll bet you he can improve his running. Now, one of his big issues is going to be this. Is Nico so good that they're not going to be able to keep him off the field? Nico looked unbelievable in that Polynesian Bowl. I mean, he threw the ball beautifully in heavy winds. When you can throw the ball well in heavy winds, that means you've got a great arm. And it also means you've got great touch because you've got to not only take into consideration the speed of the runner, but the speed of the wind. It's almost like playing golf. Great golfers play well in the wind. They don't play great in the wind, but they play well. Well, that's exactly what Nico did. And he's 6'5", and he moves better than I thought he would. He's pretty fast, and he's elusive. And it's really hard to get a good hit on him. And he's only, 18 years old or whatever? I mean, this guy's going to get better and better and better. We might have another Peyton Manning on our hands that can run. I mean, that's how good he looks. So I think we're going to have a heck of a battle, and I feel like we're in better position than I thought we were. After seeing Nico in that bowl game, I feel real good. After seeing Joe in that bowl game, I feel real good. So we do need a third quarterback, a scholarship quarterback, and I think we'll get one this spring. I doubt we're going to get one this early because who wants to come into that right now? Somebody's going to have to get beat out at some major school and feel like, you know what, I'll go there. They'll pay me well because I think the Vols are going to have to put an NIL deal together for a experienced quarterback that can come in and play a backup role. But they need 3 scholarship players. There's no way they go into it with 2. That's just crazy. And I also know that we have a couple of preferred walk-ons in Gaston Moore and Schuler. But I don't know how good they are. We've only seen them in high school. I've never seen them in a college football game. So that's kind of where we are with quarterback. I think we're in a great position, really. I would have liked to have had Tavon Jackson, but I don't blame him a bit for leaving. And he's already moved on to Indiana, and he'll probably be the starter before too long. But now let's talk about Cam Pringle. As you know, Cam was a possible UT commitment. We'd been hoping he would commit to the Vols. He's from South Carolina. He wound up committing to South Carolina, which I think is a mistake. But fortunately, in the way college football is today, if you make a mistake, you can fix it a year later. I don't know how long he'll stay at South Carolina, but that was a bad decision. I just don't see it. But, who knows? Maybe that was his home school and he just really wanted to go there, and that's okay. But I don't think that was a good decision for him.
Big mistake. Big. Huge. I have to go shopping now.
Now we're going to talk about Lane Kiffin. Lane has been trolling us, and he's trolled us a couple times. First, there was an orange plane that he saw, and he put some little cryptic tweet out there and kind of trolled us on that. Now, that's not that big a deal. I'm just going to let that slide. But then he had to bring in Legally Blonde Elle Woods to troll us. So let's take a look at that. Here it says, Lane Kiffin posts hilarious troll against Tennessee, and he used Legally Blonde to troll both Tennessee and Auburn. Said he shared a sign reading a quote from Elle Woods, and it says, whoever said orange is the new pink was seriously disturbed. It says, getting shots in any way he can. Kiffin is a master of the mind game as well as a master of social media. And if you don't remember that in the movie, it's like this.
Whoever said orange is the new pink was seriously disturbed.
That's right. So I guess he decided he wanted to be Elle Woods. And I thought about that, and I thought, you know what? I mean, who am I to take away something that he so badly wants to be? So look, if Lane wants to be Elle Woods, let's just make that happen.
Elle Woods, Your Honor.
Well, there you go. Reese, you got nothing to worry about. You're fine. You'll always be able to be Legally Blonde because I don't see Lane taking that position away from you. I just don't think he's very fetching as Elle Woods. I think he would agree. But let's talk about something a little more serious, and that's Lane going to Michigan, and it is a definite possibility. I know what you folks are thinking. He can't do this to Ole Miss again. He just can't. Oh, yes, he can. He absolutely can. And here's a story talking about how Lane Kiffin could still be in position to leave Ole Miss for another major college job this offseason. And we know all the grief that he put Ole Miss through. And there was a story that he was going to be taking the job at Auburn. Everybody thought he was. He never did dispel those rumors. He would just kind of talk in a meandering way. And if you'll remember, they started out 7-0. And then Brian Harsin got fired, and all the Auburn rumors started heating up. And, of course, Lane, being Lane, he had to be all cryptic about it. So everybody thought he was going to take the job because that's what the guy does. He's a job hopper. He never stays anywhere too long. And everybody remembers what he did to Tennessee when he was there for 1 year and stabbed us in the back and all that kind of stuff. That's his reputation, and he's earned it. Look, I'm not going to take away something that Lane legitimately earned. So after going 7-0, his team fell apart. They lost 5 of the next 6 because every player on Ole Miss's team thought, hey, he's going to leave us. And that's a really bad message to send to your team because effort is very important and cohesiveness and chemistry and all that. Well, they lost it. They lost all that. Same thing happened with Hugh Freeze when the rumor started heating up about him going to Auburn. His team, Liberty, fell apart. They were like undefeated, and all of a sudden they can't beat anybody because the team chemistry got blown up by that rumor that neither one of them dispelled. Of course, here it talks about Lane was complaining the entire year about the NIL situation, that Ole Miss didn't have very much money to spend. He also complained about the crowd being so small. They'd have like 50,000 people in their stadium, and then by halftime, he'd come back for the second half, and there'd be 10,000 because everybody had left to go have their hot toddy or whatever it is that they do down there, which is, hey, that's their tradition. They go and they have their hotty toddy or whatever it is. But the rumor is that Jim Harbaugh is seriously considering going to Denver, and if he gets the opportunity, he's going to leave. Harbaugh also is in trouble over a cheeseburger with the NCAA. He bought a couple of cheeseburgers for some recruits. It says if Harbaugh is offered the job, he'll take it in a quick minute, and the Broncos have reached out to Harbaugh. If that happens, I could see Michigan turning towards Kiffin, and I think Kiffin would be very interested. A recent report suggested that Kiffin tends to get bored easily. Yeah, we all know that. And his employment history. Never stayed in one place as a coach for longer than 3 seasons. He hadn't stayed anywhere for more than 3 seasons. Talks about how he's former head coach, left after a year. He won 10 games in 21. Then he started out 7-0. We talked about that, lost 5 of 6. But I could definitely see him going to Michigan, and Michigan will throw the money at him too. You know, Auburn threw a pretty good offer at him. Michigan's already paying Harbaugh like $8 or $9 million a year, so, you know, they wouldn't care to up that probably to get Lane. I think that would be a good hire for him because Lane's actually a good coach, but he's such a job jumper, you can't trust him. You know, I can tell you this, he'd come back to Tennessee like that. I mean, I'm telling you, that guy misses that job so bad. He's all the time lamenting. That's why he's always trolling us, because he knows he blew it. And he tried so hard to get the Tennessee job. When Jeremy Pruitt was hired, he was tweeting like crazy during that whole job search about, hey, I'm here. I think he was at Florida Atlantic Tech, Polytech, or whatever, one of those little schools down in Florida. He wanted that job back so bad he couldn't stand it, because we have 102,000 Rabid fans, and he's down there right now with 50,000 that he can't keep after halftime. And here we are, you know, tearing down goalposts and shooting off fireworks, everything that makes him, that would get him excited. So, you know, he's missing it bad. And look, here's how Lane really is about the Vols.
I'm sorry, babe. I didn't mean that either. I just yell sometimes because I get so scared. I want to kiss you all over and over and again till the night closes in. Till the night closes in.
Yep, that's dead on. I mean, that's how it is. He's been that way for years. It's not going to happen, though, Lane. It's not going to happen. I'll just go ahead and tell you. You might as well forget it. And for Ole Miss, I'm sorry y'all have to continue to go through this with him, but that's just part of hiring Lane Kiffin. All right, folks, I just wanted to cover those issues today, talk about Joe and Nico, and, of course, Lane. He's always got to get his 2 cents in. He can't let us go.
I hate goodbyes.
Yep, Lane hates goodbyes. He just can't help it. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's me know to continue to cover the Vols. And if you've not subscribed, it's right here on the left. Costs you absolutely nothing, and it helps me. Just hit that little button. It's just so easy. A lot of you watch my videos, you don't hit that button. Just go ahead and do it if you don't mind. And also, YouTube puts a video right over here. It's my most recent one. It's pretty popular. Check it out. And I hope you did like the content. We'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.